So this right here, beachside UFO summer pod colony outside Taipei. Perhaps some of you recognize it. It's often on Tumblr or Pinterest, various curiosity blogs. It's pretty commonly photographed as well, lots of Flickr sets from explorers. If you read the blogs, they talk about it being haunted, that it was abandoned because there were ghosts. I mean, this is 30 years old. And I've been obsessed with these images for several years. It's hard to not be. I mean, it's so peculiar and fantastic, the shape, the size, the colors, that it's not white, it's candy apple green, it's lavender. And of course, like, it's a wreck, it's ruin porn. Inside is a mess, it's just destroyed. And these are some of the better photos, like the ones near the shore are actually very, very revealing the bad materials that were used in the construction. I always hoped that one day I would have a chance to see it in person, but Taiwan is not Japan, it's not China, it's not a place that I ever really thought I'd go. That is until I booked a flight to visit a friend of mine in Phnom Penh, and I saw on the ticket that the layover was in Taipei. And so I had this idea that I would get off the plane, take a bus out, and have, even if it's just 20 minutes, walk around, explore these. Well, in any case, that would have been impossible. It's a pretty long flight to risk it. So, but with that idea in mind, I had to see it. So I just booked a ticket from Phnom Penh expressly to go to the UFO colony, Sanji. So I had been reading I bookmarked all these blogs that explained how to get there. And it was usually the same thing, whether by motorbike, by taxi, or by bus. You take the bus up to Danshui, the north coast of Taiwan, maybe 20 minutes outside Taipei. Then look for the Che graffiti, which is right there. It's blurred from facial recognition on Street View. And then you pass a gas station, and it will be right there, is what everybody says. So I wrote it down. I mean, I knew directions. I had read them multiple times. And so I was ready. I was on my way. I was set to do this. Now, I'm there. I get to the Che graffiti. I see the gas station, and then right in front of me is this. This is what I saw. Actually, I saw bits of rubble, the pieces of Sanji, the UFO colony pod things. They had destroyed it. It was demolished before I got there. And I mean, I was pretty upset about this. And to give you an example, I mean, I was going to Cambodia, I was going to see Angkor Wat, and I was a little bit more excited about seeing these things. So that might put things into perspective how devastated I was. But I walked around, I collected as many pieces as I could find. They're all Easter egg colors, so just put them in the 7-Eleven bag and took them away. I mean, most of them kind of look like this. They're bad wood and plastic. Yeah, it was just right now, those beautiful broken UFOs are rubble. So let's look at another part of the globe. Here's Haiti. This is a photo. I interviewed 2 filmmakers who did a documentary about the the secondhand clothing trade. And so when you go to Goodwill or Salvation Army and you don't want the things that nobody wants, they are probably boxed up and shipped to countries like Haiti. And maybe some people buy them, maybe some people reuse them, but typically they are just blanketing the streets, like you can see here. What's very interesting is that very image, a few years later, I saw this enormous spike in traffic on my site, just people looking at this image. And of course, this was the day after the earthquake in 2010. So, and it turned out that my image, Haiti, was a top Google page. It was top Google image search result. So everyone was going to see it and clicking on it. But the thing is, the context got lost. So you can see here's someone using this image as an example of what the earthquake did to how the earthquake destroyed the country. And actually, I mean, this happened years before. It's a moment in history mistaken for the present. So now, one thing, to tie this back into my original story, I didn't mention one thing about my journey to the UFO houses. I knew that they were demolished just about 2 days before I got on the plane. I was in an internet cafe. I looked at a blog post that I think I had even seen before. There was just a new comment, and it said, by the way, there's really nothing left. They've totally demolished these the UFO houses. And I was, of course, like trying not to believe it. I was like, oh, I still need to go and see for myself. But now I had been Googling them obsessively. Like, I didn't have Google alerts, but I mean, it wouldn't really have made a difference. I mean, but I was checking the Wikipedia page. I read so many things, and most of it was junk. It was like, oh, check out these crazy sci-fi UFO houses, that crazy things, and all the rumors being spread. But it's just an example of search and how we don't think of, when we're researching something like this, I mean, first of all, the UFO houses had been there abandoned for 30 years. It was just my bad luck that my opportunity to go see them happened to be just several months after they were demolished totally. But the other thing is that, you know, on Twitter, Facebook, we have this status updates. We're used to thinking about what comes next. But you know, those moments in time on the internet are confused. I mean, I was standing in the middle of an empty field looking at this on my phone, which is telling me that I should be in the middle of all of that. I should be right square in the center of these magnificent structures, and instead I'm just in this field collecting thistles on my pants. And this is really how the web is working now. We see that contemporary culture, hologram duets. I completely agree with this, what Elia's ghost tweeted. And you know, World War II and real-time tweets, history and the future, compressed and accessible, and this is what the web is bringing us. And not only that, we can talk to the past. Here's especially on IMDb. IMDb is great for this. This is just a random actress, and the question is, does she have a boyfriend or a husband? Now look at the times. Like, people have been talking about this woman's love life 2007 until just the other month. I mean, how long are they going to have this conversation? They could be talking about whether she has a boyfriend after she's dead. I mean, it's not inconceivable, just as long as IMDb is around, I guess. But this miscommunication, I mean, you can think of it as like bathroom graffiti. If we were just to like continuously talk to each other on a wall or send messages in a bottle to each other, this is something new that the web has brought us. And it's something that we can play with as well. So The other year, I was just playing around with my old Friendster profile, and I really loved Friendster. It was, I think I signed up, it was 2002, so it was pretty much 10 years of social networking for me, and it occurred to me that this website was now a time capsule of who I used to be in 2006, because that was when I stopped using it. So a lot of these people that were my friends, I haven't really talked to in ages. And it made me wish that there were a rewind button that I could go back and see what I was like when I first logged onto the site. So instead of that, what I did is I just created a new profile for myself when I was 10 years before. And I was just thinking about what I was doing at the time, what books I was reading. So I was, putting status updates like, oh my goodness, I just discovered this amazing author, Ursula Le Guin, and things like, oh, have you seen Memento? Or things related to that period in time, and also complaining about, but not only that, I invited a bunch of my friends to do the same thing. I said, hey, can you sign up? My friends were asking me, why are we getting invitations to Friendster, Joanne? I don't understand what you're doing. And I said, we'll join like it's 10 years ago, and we'll talk like we knew, because none of these people knew me back then. So we'll just talk like we're from the past. And so I somehow convinced about 10 people to do this. And it was a really interesting opportunity to get to know each other. I mean, I was just thinking back to what I was doing then. I was cocktail waitress, so I would put up status updates like, oh, I had to serve these razzmatazes to this bachelorette party. It was miserable, and just things like that, and having conversations that would spring up with my new friends, pretending that we're our old friends. I mean, the invitation I sent out was this. So you can kind of see the instructions here. Just put your age as 10 years before, invite anybody, put your interests, what they used to be, and I gave some links so people would have ideas. And I mean, I really did think of it as LARPing your past identity, and but the point of this was, and with these other examples, not to be thought of as necessarily a bad thing. It's that the web has made time very malleable and something that we can reimagine, we can rethink. Thank you.